Hello children, today we are going to learn about democracy. Democracy is considered to be the best form of governance. It has been observed that all nations seem to have a great attraction for democracy. People under non-democratic system have agitated collectively for the establishment of democracy, which is clear with the map given here. You can compare the democratic countries in 1900 and in 2000. As you can observe, by 2000, more and more countries have switched over to democracy. Meaning of democracy. Democracy is a Greek word which means rule by the people. Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. There are two forms of democracy: direct democracy and indirect democracy. Direct democracy, the system of government wherein people directly participate in its affair, is known as direct democracy. The ancient Greek city-states practiced direct democracy. The citizens assembled together, discussed matter of common concern, and arrived at a certain decision. The Greek cities-states were small in size and population. This enabled them to practice direct democracy. Indirect democracy, the system wherein the citizens participate in the affairs of government indirectly through their elected representatives, is known as indirect democracy. In this system, the representatives are chosen by the people. That is why indirect democracy is known as a representative democracy. Indirect democracy is being practiced in several countries today. The simplest and most popular definition of democracy is given by Abraham Lincoln. According to him, democracy is government by the people, for the people, and of the people. Now you may think how to distinguish between a democratic and a non-democratic country. Because there are many non-democratic countries which follow some procedures of democracy. For that, we need to know the features of democracy. The first feature is major decision by elected leaders. In democracy, the final decision-making power rests with those elected by the people. Second feature is free and fair electoral competition. In democracy, the elections must offer a real choice between political alternatives, and it should be possible for people to use this choice to remove the existing rulers if they wish so. So, a democracy must be based on free and fair election where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. One person, one vote, one value. Democracy is based on a fundamental principle of political equality that gives us the third feature of democracy. In a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. Rule of law and respect for rights. A democratic government cannot do whatever it likes simply because it has won an election. It has to respect some basic rules. In particular, it has to respect some guarantees to the minorities. Every major decision has to go through a series of consultations. So, a democratic government rules within limits set by the constitutional law and citizens' rights. We need to know the pros and cons of democracy and arrive at a personal view on the topic. Let's start with the main argument against democracy. Democracy leads to instability as the leaders keep changing in a democratic government. Quick action is not possible in democracy because many people needs to be consulted before making any kind of decision. Politicians are not too concerned about the morality in our democracy because this form of government is all about political competitions and power play. In fact, electoral competitions provide lot of scope for corruption. Elected leaders may not be necessarily qualified to understand the best interest of the people. This can lead to bad decisions. Finally, it can be said that ordinary people are not qualified to elect a good leader and so they should not be given the power. Many of these arguments indeed valid. However, some of the points mentioned could be applied to any form of government where power is misused. The above argument against democracy showcase it is not the ideal form of government. But the debate here is whether democracy is better than other form of government that we are aware of. To resolve this dilemma, let's see the other side of the coin. Argument for democracy. In a non-democracy, the rulers may or may not respond to the needs and wishes of people. Thus, we arrive at our first argument in favor of democracy. A democratic government is more accountable to its people. As mentioned earlier, democratic decisions involve a series of consultation, meetings, and discussion among many people. Granted that such a decision-making process is time-consuming. This helps democracy guard against rash and irresponsible decisions. That is our second argument in favor of democracy. All individuals may have different ideas, ideals, and values. This is especially true in a country with mass social diversity such as India. However, in a democracy, no one can be regarded as a winner or loser permanently. Therefore, democracy enables people to deal with differences and conflicts in a peaceful manner. These were some of the arguments about effects of democracy on the quality of the government and social life. However, the more important aspect of democracy is the effect of democracy on citizens in enforcing political equality. Democracy enhances the dignity of citizens. It gives the same status to all people regardless of wealth or education. Rather being the subject of the ruler, the citizens rule themselves through elected representatives. When they make mistakes, they assume responsibility for their own mistake as well. Thus, democracy is a better form of government because it allows us to correct our own mistakes. No form of government can guarantee perfection. However, democracy as a form of government allows for relatively more transparency, public discussion, and correction of mistakes. Thus, broadly speaking, democracy involves public participation, consultation, and representation. Thank you.